are on IT4 Business TV set, and we are with Frederic Werner. Frederic, hi.
Hello.
You are Chief Strategy and Operation AI for Good at the United Nations ITU. First question, what is AI for Good?
Yeah, so AI for Good was created by ITU, and for those of people who don't know, ITU is the United Nations Specialized Agency for Information and Communications Technology. Mm-hmm. And basically we created AI for Good on the premise that we now have less than 10 years to advance the Sustainable Development Goals, and AI holds great promise to advance many of those goals and targets. So anything from climate change to clean energy to affordable healthcare, education for all, spotting inequalities or gender equity, autonomous driving, robotics. I think the use cases are definitely there, and simply put, the goal of AI for Good is to identify practical applications of AI to advance the Sustainable Development Goals and figure out how to scale the solutions for global impact.
Can you give us some example of AI for Good, like really beautiful projects?
Yes, I mean, last night I hosted the Neuron Awards at this event, and that was basically a series of startups showing AI, for example, using AI to translate sign language so that you can communicate, or to help the deaf to enjoy music, or we saw a system for detecting objects in the water to avoid collisions by boats. So one of the best parts of my job is I'm exposed to these use cases every day, and there's no shortage of high potential use cases. But how do we know these use cases work equally well on men or women, or on the children or the elderly, or people with different skin colors, or in developing countries where basic things like electricity are an issue? And these are not things that occur naturally to the fast-moving tech industry, but they are things that we think deeply about at AI for Good. So I think that's really, how do we scale these use cases across the world, and not only developed countries, but in the global south? That's a big part of AI for Good and its alignment with the Sustainable Development Goals.
One last question. What are the bottlenecks preventing AI from scaling globally?
Well, I think
AI for Good.
Yes, AI for Good, not all AI.
Not AI.
Yes. Well, referring to my last answer, I think making sure that data sets are inclusive and being mindful of bias, making sure that AI is ethical, making sure it's sustainable, making sure it's inclusive, making sure it's safe, it's responsible. And I know these are a lot of things to think about it, but there's a lot of work going on ethics and how to handle these things among different processes, both inside and outside of the UN. But the biggest bottleneck, I would say, is actually data. There's a cliche that data is the fuel of AI, and it
is.
It is. Yeah. And I can't tell you how many meetings I've been where we say who has data, and all the hands go up, and then we say who's willing to share data, and then they look at their shoes and the room goes silent. So I think figuring out how to share data in a way that's useful for AI but still respects privacy is the biggest bottleneck to solve. And there are techniques for doing so, but there's still a long journey to go. So I think really, if you solve the data issue, then you can really have AI for Good.
Thank you, Frederic. Thank you.
Thank you.